All right. Pleasure to be joined by Rob from Leeds, who has done really well in the SA world recently. Great to meet you, Rob. Great to see you again, my friend. Tell us more about yourself and your background and these houses that you own in Leeds.
Yeah. So I mean, background for myself. Yeah, lived in Leeds for 10, 12 years. So quite a big chunk of my life. Clearly bought a house there to live in, and that was the kind of start of my property journey, I suppose. So the place where I purchased to live was just outside the city centre in Leeds, kind of a two up, two down kind of townhouse style, which was a new build at the time. And the property itself was sort of, it was an exciting development in Leeds because it was the closest like houses you could buy to the city centre at the time, at a time when the city was growing as well, quite substantially. So I lived there for a few years, and yeah, found that the prices on the street were kind of going up significantly, and I had a bit of cash to spend, and was always interested in property. So I made the kind of blind investment choice, I'd probably say, without any kind of guidance or help from anyone, just to buy another, and was lucky enough that the value did just go up. So on the same street, I bought another price and rented it out. And then I did the same again. So I ended up having 3 houses, basically using the equity that I'd had from the price of them just going up, which was lucky in a way. But like I said, it was kind of like a blind investment. I'd say there was no strategy behind the investment at all. I didn't really know what I was doing. So this is a good sort of 5 years ago now. So I ended up with 3 properties on the same street. Sort of personally about me, I sort of work a 9-to-5 job in a sort of a commercial setting. I work for a food company, so sort of busy 9 to 5 as well. So I was kind of had 3 properties and a 9-to-5 job, and that's kind of how I came about owning those 3 houses that I rented out to tenants.
Okay. Great. It's great to have 3 houses in the same street. You know, as your normal buy-to-let tenants, it would have been fairly easy to manage those. And you were you still living in the street at the time?
Yeah, so I was living in a place and rented 2 of them out. And it was very traditional in the way that I did it. I had an estate agent manage it. So I gave them a chunk of money each month. And the rent, obviously coming in, there was a cut of it that went to the estate agent. And I was really hands off, I suppose. Yeah.
So. Fair enough. And it obviously worked well for you for buy-to-lets. How long did you use them as buy-to-lets for?
Varied just based on when I kind of purchased each one, but probably on average maybe 3-4 years ran them as sort of buy-to-lets. Okay. And then sort of got to a stage when we met, Phil. I can't remember when it was, a year ago maybe.
Over a year ago now, yeah.
Over a year ago, that I kind of realised they weren't very profitable. The price, sort of the underlying value of them wasn't going up, so I wasn't really making money that way. So I was just looking to kind of rethink the whole strategy behind them, really, which is when we met.
Yeah. Okay. So who am I to you? What influence have I had on this this business for you?
Yeah. So I suppose how we came about really just through a bit of social media networking. I think it was Jamie, your business partner, who I had initial chat with, and then yourself as well. I was always interested in the sort of holiday let market. I come from a sort of small seaside town, so I kind of was always thinking about, should I invest there and sort of get after the holiday market? So it was something that I sort of always on the fringes and thinking about in property, but never really knew what I was doing, to be honest, because I didn't really know anything about property. I just had properties, but I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, had a good initial chat with yourself and Jamie just about what my view was, my vision, my portfolio, what I wanted to learn. And and yeah, signed up for the masterclass, the service accommodation masterclass, which turned out to be a game changer for me when it came to how I manage my properties, how profitable they are, and what my strategy was really. So that's how I suppose our relationships developed over the year. Just a lot of learning from my side, and
a lot of learning.
Yeah, that's it.
There is a lot to learn and a lot to continue to learn with property, especially when you move into SA. But yes, you signed up to our year-long mentorship program called UK Breaks Masterclass a year ago. And we helped you and supported you and guided you through making these changes to your SA portfolio. And now, it's a completely different story. So share with me, if you can, some of the numbers on these deals. What sort of profit were you making before, and what sort of profit are you making now? And then what sort of profit are you looking to make in the future?
Yeah, sure. So I think probably the easiest way to look at it is just looking at how it was structured before. So obviously, clearly with the buy-to-let route, I was getting per property maybe 1,100 a month income, sort of turnover. The kind of issue that I personally have is that I own those properties in my personal name, so which makes it very tax inefficient for me in the position that I'm in. So I'm paying the higher tax bracket on any income that I'm getting on those properties as a buy-to-let investor. And then coupled with the agency sort of fees that I was paying, and the mortgages clearly that I have on those on an interest-only basis, my profitability was genuinely zero. So I was getting over £3,000 a month income on 3 properties, but genuinely making pretty much zero, which sounds sort of crazy. And sort of when you say to people, "Oh, you've got 3 houses making £1,000 a month," whatever it is, it sounds impressive, but it wasn't underlying. So sort of flick forward to now. So I self-manage 2 properties from a short stay perspective, and so I sort of market them on Airbnb, Booking.com, and I kind of run them as my portfolio. So I'm in charge of like the day-to-day management, the calendar management, the pricing strategies, the managing the cleaners, the linen, all that type of stuff. So much more involved than I would have been from a buy-to-let perspective. So much more sort of intense from an energy perspective, I suppose, on my behalf, but much more profitable. So my sort of initial numbers in the first sort of 3 to 6 months of trading with those properties, each one's turning over maybe £2,500 a month. And the profit margins underlying are about 50% on that. So, the profit's what, £1,250 a month on average per property. So going from 0 across 3 to each one now making your £1,250 profit a month is kind of a big step change, and it's definitely worth the extra effort that I'm clearly having to put into running the business. So that's just maybe top line on the numbers for now. And I suppose what I'd say is that's running the business over sort of a period which is typically a lower season within service accommodation. So I started running these at the back end of last year. So I've had the Christmas period and then the first part of 2024, clearly going into the remainder of summer as we're getting into summer now. From a pricing strategy perspective, definitely looking to sort of maximize profit through that summer period. So definitely looking to push that up, but I'm kind of comfortable from a baseline perspective that I know what I can get in the low season, which is good. So I know I've got that base. So yeah, definitely looking to grow profitability through pricing strategies, and keep getting the good reviews, fingers crossed. So that's a big bit too. But yeah, that's top line numbers, I'd say.
Yeah, it's great, and it's all about the good reviews, as you mentioned. You wouldn't be getting that level of profit, that number of bookings, if your reviews weren't so good. And part of the reason your reviews are so good is because these houses have been turned over really, really nicely. If you remember to what they were like before as buy-to-lets, they were a little bit tired, needed a bit of maintenance, whereas you've invested, and it was a very smart investment in design, upgrading, repainting, redecorating the house, all of them substantially. And that's really been reflected in what you've achieved in the last 6 months. So it all comes down to that hard work that you put in at the start.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's definitely a big thing that we touch on the course as well. It's not just getting everything set up, it's making sure that you're marketing everything in the right way. The amount is very simple, but the amount of times that I've stayed in a place that on pictures looks okay, and you get there and it's fantastic, and you think, if they just had maybe some professional photography, it looks so much better. And I was always kind of thinking of those things. So yeah, definitely investing up front to make sure they look modern, clean, lots of color. A professional photographer seems to have really helped me kind of stand out versus what the sort of else is available in that part of Leeds. So definitely a big reflection, hopefully, of some of the early success I've seen. So that's good.
And you also get quite a lot of direct bookings, don't you? I think your first booking was quite a large direct booking. Tell me about that one, for the first one that you had.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just, again, the power of kind of social media, really. I'm in various property groups, in groups that like street Facebook groups and stuff. And I'd just sort of seen a post online that a friend was looking to stay in Leeds for a few months. Turned out it was kind of a group of actors who had a Christmas concert on, and they were going to be in Leeds for sort of 3-4 months. So straight away, before I had any bookings externally, I had a 4-month direct booking in the place, in one of the places. So that was kind of a good start to my sort of journey. But yeah, I mean, I've had a few decent direct, but they've all come really through social media. And then, clearly, as guests do come into your property and you stay, and you can sort of get a bit of a relationship going with some of them, depending on the level of communication you have. So again, I've kind of had direct bookings come from guests who have maybe booked on Airbnb originally, but then have come to me directly as a kind of follow-up as well. So that's sort of worked for me pretty well, because I do have quite a lot of workers, particularly stay during the week. So clearly their businesses demand that they're potentially in the same office every so often or whatever it is. So definitely getting a relationship with clients as well is quite key, even if they have come through an external booking source or whatever it is. So that's worked pretty well for me as well.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. Obviously, an over-reliance in places like Airbnb and Booking.com, you just have to pay the commission. But what we often get, and you're exactly the same, great example of develop a relationship with the guest, especially if they're coming for work, then very often they're their repeat customers that come again and again and again, and just let them know that there is another option out there. Yeah. If you can book direct, the next time we'll give you a discount. And people are very open to that nowadays. They're very aware that they can get a better deal coming directly rather than using these online travel agency platforms. So yeah, you've done everything we've taught you, and it's obviously working really, really, really well. What's your plan for the future? Have you got any plans to get any more in the Leeds area?
Yeah, definitely. I think my plan is to grow. I think Leeds is an area that I know well, and I know where would work from an investment perspective, and potentially where I wouldn't. So yeah, definitely looking to grow the business. I've got a couple of investors who I'm sort of working with in the background, who are really interested in what I'm doing. Sort of friends who have shown an interest in the property business but don't know where to start. I've got 2 or 3 sort of good contacts who are definitely looking to invest with me, and in me, and helping them to start their property journey as well. So definitely, I think going on the masterclass again has helped me gain so much credibility, even among my friends who kind of know me. It just has given that credibility, and they've kind of seen what I'm doing. They've seen my properties advertised. It sort of builds up that sort of, I don't know the word, but yeah, I think the credibility is probably the word I'm looking for, really. It's build up that credibility. and has opened up some different conversations that I would usually have with my friends down the pub. Very simply. So that's where I'm looking to start, potentially invest in some other properties with friends, and then using platforms like this and putting my name out there to maybe potentially get some external investors further down the line. So yeah, definitely looking to grow in the next sort of 12-18 months. I mean, the sort of end goal really is that this is my kind of full time. Like I said, at the minute I'm in a busy 9 to 5, so I'm doing all this on the side, I suppose. So ideally over the next sort of few years, looking to maybe switch that dynamic up a bit, and that's a sort of long-term goal really.
Okay, oh, that's great. So what would be your one biggest tip for anyone new starting out, looking to get into serviced accommodation? What's your biggest piece of advice you might offer to them?
Yeah, I think it sounds an obvious point, but just get the education. I wouldn't have known where to start if it hadn't have been for the course that you guys were offering to run and the support that you've given. Genuinely wouldn't have known. And the world of SA is quite different to buy to let. There's a lot of different strategies you have to think about, different ways you can systemize, different contacts it might need from whether it be a great accountant behind you or whoever it is. Doing things like the mentorship scheme definitely open up those routes, and it has done for me genuinely. The amount of knowledge that I have now, and I'm learning on the job, I suppose, as I'm going, but definitely up front it was great to have that back in. So yeah, definitely sort of, like I say, a bit cheesy, but just get the education. It's worth the investment. It really is, because I wouldn't have made the jump if it wasn't for that. I wouldn't have had the confidence to do it. So that's my biggest advice for anyone new looking to get into it. 100%.
Okay, great. And then one last question: if people want to reach out to you, get in touch with you, what's the best way they can contact you if they want to find out more about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to share my story or inspire someone, or whoever it is, please reach out. I don't know if I can give my number or my email address on a link or something on this, but
yes,
definitely, yeah, I'll 100% do that. No problem at all. And definitely reach out. Yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Rob. Great to have you with us. Great to chat to you again. It's been a while since we last spoke, but really pleased to see the success that you're having after all the help and advice that we've given you in the last year. And you're absolutely knocking it out of the park, mate. So congratulations. You should be really happy and really proud of what you've achieved this year.
Cheers, Phil. Appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for all the help as well.
No worries.
Yeah,
No worries.
cheers. Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.
Cheers.